As I've grown as a DP, I feel like I've gotten less into the tech and more into like principles and stuff, but still love to geek out on whatever the newest camera is. I think all filmmakers, when we first start out, were like super obsessed with the camera, 8K resolution, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember the first time I shot on a Red camera and I was like, oh, this stuff's going to look sick.
Yeah.
And it looked like hot garbage. And I was like, okay, what's missing? So you realize it's more about the principles and the creativity and the skills rather than the equipment. Because nowadays I'm like, I could make something awesome on an iPhone or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter, you know?
Welcome to A Filmmaker's Journey. I said it right. We've got Mr. Josh Miller, DP.
What's up?
In the house. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, dude.
Like, super appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
You were here shooting with Film Lab, and I let you do the full shoot, and then I didn't want to bother you, and I was like, Josh, I got to get you in here, man. You're so good at what you do. So.
Oh, thanks, bro. Yeah, no, it was fun. Like, I think some of my favorite stuff that I've shot thus far in my career, honestly, was here.
I couldn't believe the diversity of that shoot.
It was wild.
5 days. I thought it was just the 2 days you were here.
I think by the time we got done shooting, it was like 6 days.
Wow.
Like, it was like some of them were half days and like really short stuff, but like we had like 6 different days, I think, that we ended up shooting.
One company.
Yep.
And that was like, because you guys shot so many different things here, and then you went all over other places.
Super montagey, which I've never done something as quite as montage like that. And so that was, I've like watched YouTube videos. Like, one of my favorite YouTubers is Lewis Potts, and he has a whole episode talking about shooting montage, and you don't really fully understand until you actually do it. And then I was like, holy crap, like that was so much work.
Yeah.
So it was fun though.
I know once I saw you and Tenzin still out, and I was like, holy crap. What was the budget on this shoot? What are they paying? Film Lab, you don't tell me.
I honestly don't know, but it's a pharmacy company, so they've got money. You know, it's
the medical field, man.
Medical, anything. Yeah, dude, they got freaking cash. So yeah.
First off, let's introduce yourself, man. Tell me about. First, let me just hear your name.
Yeah.
Tell me your name, and then let's jump into what you're doing currently in your career.
Cool.
I'm guessing it's DP.
Yeah, So name's Josh Miller. I am a full-time cinematographer, director of photography. I've been doing this for it's almost to the day. We're getting really close on 10 years. I've been doing this. Yeah. So I work full-time as a freelance cinematographer.
Yeah.
I also gaff and grip every once in a while. Sweet. Or, like it's like most freelancers, like we'll take whatever job is out there, but I'm trying to more often than not work as a DP, just because that is where my strengths really lie. But I'm super grateful for my experience working as a grip and as a gaffer, because I am able to communicate with my gaffer and just be able to understand what they need to know, and and when they talk to me, they can talk in gaffer terms and I understand them. So that's super helpful. But on top of that, I do social media, do content creation. For me, it's something that I am really, really passionate about educating. And because when I was starting out 10 years ago, social media was still just pretty fresh and just getting going. And I wish so badly that I could have had somebody that I could have really relied on that had been through the same kind of journey that I've been on, to just like get feedback from and like talk to and like watch their content. And so I'm trying to do that for myself 10 years ago, but the people that are in that position now that want to become a full-time cinematographer and do this as a full-time career, I just want to help them. That's like my biggest goal. So I'm kind of taking everything on it's like a double-edged sword, like doing actual practitioner work. Because for me, I need to always be a practitioner, because I feel like an imposter if I'm not. So always going to be working as a DP, and on the side, or just the other side of the sword, educating, doing all this kind of stuff. So
you're really good at it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You have a good way of teaching. I've tried, and I'm not as good. There's like a way to communicate. I talked to Parker about this, and just like having a tone and a presence, you have that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So good job.
Thank you.
Keep doing it.
Thank you, dude. Parker, man, he's the OG, man. He's the OG educator, bro.
I know, totally. And it's been fun because, yeah, he's like, I was just like, you have a very calm demeanor about you, and it's very like, I want to listen to you.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you got Peter McKinnon who can just be loud, and that's his personality, and they love that. And so it's just like cool to see the different ways to teach, because it resonates with different people, and you find your audience, and they like your stuff more than others. So.
Yeah, I remember when I first started doing, like a couple years ago, before things kind of blew up, I tried being more like Peter McKinnon, having more of that like energy.
Yeah, because they taught us that. It's like I remember like Sean Duras, who on Space Station, he's so animated, but that was always the thing. It's like, you got to be animated because you're being downplayed 50% on camera.
Yeah. Which I'm like, yeah, that's true for like commercial work and stuff. But
it was like, but then people started to see through it, and they're like, this is fake.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had multiple people tell me that they're like, dude, at the end of your videos, I just felt like I could go grab a beer with you and just like hang. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want. Like, I just want to be me, and my energy is not like crazy high. And so I try to be just like more level headed, and hopefully that's what and as well as I and thankfully I've had multiple people tell me this as well. They're like, dude, you're the exact same person in real life than you are on social media. Cool. And that for me I'm super, super grateful for that, because that's all I could ask for is just, I'm the same person in, behind closed doors and in front of people, no matter what. So
it's real and authentic, especially with AI. It's like, you have to be you have to be real.
I try.
I do need to preface that Sean Durst isn't fake. I said that he's actually very animated. Oh yeah, that's really who he is.
Yeah, though there's some people, dude, like if do you know Justin Porter? He's a really big old black dude that does wedding videos. He's got crazy energy.
No.
Oh, one of my favorite guys ever, but he has the most energy, and you're like, that's got to be fake. And then you meet him, like I met him at NAB, and I'm like, nope, that's him. That's just, he's got crazy energy. So
well, I think anyone that had the energy, and if they're real, they're still doing it. The people that had the energy and weren't real aren't still doing it.
Yeah.
Or they've changed to be more authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't need to get into other people's personalities. We'll just stay with yours.
All right, appreciate it.
It's really cool, and I've been watching a lot of your stuff recently, and obviously we've got it pulled up here. So do you enjoy, I guess I really just want to understand DP, like what made you want to be a DP versus like all the other avenues?
Yeah.
And just really focus on it. Like your name literally has it.
Yeah.
In your name.
Yeah. So
it's a niche, man.
It is. It's super, I've learned over the years that the more niche you can be, the better. And to really just, this is what I do, you know? So, but I got into this because, looking back, it's not like this was a very well thought through thing. When I was a kid, I remember wanting to be able to draw. I wanted to be able to paint. I wanted to be able to draw. I wanted to be creative, and I literally just couldn't. Like, I tried, took classes, and like just never could. Just could never
draw. And
so when I found the camera and I found lighting, I was like, this is my paintbrush. Yeah. Like, this is I can finally be creative. Because growing up, my dad's an eye doctor, and so it was very much like, oh, I'm probably going to do something, doctor, lawyer, something along those lines, something. And I feel like I kind of killed my creative bone just over the years of just whatever, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So when I found the camera, I was just like, this is it. Like, I can be creative, I can have fun. And, this is in the days of like Sam Colder starting to become big, and like all of these guys, Peter McKinnon. I mean, I followed Peter McKinnon when he probably had 3,000 followers. Yeah. Like, I mean, whole journey I've seen him in, like, super inspiring to me. But that was the biggest thing. I just was like, finally, I can be creative. And I look back and I'm like, man, if Josh, when he was 15 years old, could know that he was going to be doing this, it's a little bit emotional for me, just because it was such a big deal for me when I was a kid. Like, I wanted to be creative so badly, and I just couldn't. But now I do. Like, that's what I do on a regular basis, and I love it. So, and
dude, you're giving me chills.
Thanks, dude. I
feel it. It's resonating.
Yeah,
through the table,
through the wood, through the plywood. you know, and I decided to really focus as like a DP because I've also always had opportunities through my whole life to be in leadership positions. And I think that's just kind of a natural bone that I have in my body. And it was just kind of a natural progression of like, okay, I love to light. I love cameras. I'm a super freaking tech nerd. Love, and it's funny because as I've grown as a DP, I feel like I've gotten less into the tech and more into like principles and stuff, but still love to geek out on whatever the newest camera is. But I love being, not that I love being in charge, but I feel comfortable and I feel like I'm able to lead and give directions and help move things along quickly in a production. So that's, I've worked as a gaffer. I still do stuff as a gaffer, and for whatever reason, I just always come back to being a DP. And
that's so cool. You've fallen into what you love. I can tell. Like, obviously, especially now that you're getting more into the principles, which is fun because it's like, you found your flavor. You know how to be technical. Now it's like, how do I expand that and make it cooler or try different things?
Because when I was starting out, I was like, I think all filmmakers when we first start out were like super obsessed with the camera, 8K resolution, blah blah blah. And then I remember the first time I shot on a red camera, and I was like, oh, this stuff's gonna look sick. And it looked like hot garbage, and I was like, okay, what's missing? So you realize it's more about the principles and the creativity and the skills rather than the equipment. Because nowadays I'm like, I could make something awesome on an iPhone or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter, you know,
especially nowadays. And I always, it sounds like well, it's interesting actually, because you're almost 10 years into this. And it's literally, I feel like once you hit 10 years, you essentially hit your 10,000 hours, and you're less about the tools, and then your mind becomes valuable. And that's where this, like, the principles and like using your brain and your experiences becomes more valuable than the tools you're using.
Absolutely.
And that's like a really good DP, is when you can just like see it and know, communicate obviously with the people in your departments, but tell them what you want and then bring it to life. If something's not right. Well, this is why. This is the feeling I have.
To be able to step into a space and be able to visualize and be like, okay, to your gaffer, I need a light back there. I need this up here. I need something over here. And then let them take care of the technical. But in your brain, you've kind of formulated that vision, and not fully there, but I'm slowly getting there.
You feel like you can get better?
Oh, yeah, dude. I feel like I've barely, honestly, like, it's so funny because I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, I have been doing this for 10 years, but I feel like I'm just barely starting to get a real grasp and like feel really confident, like just barely. So I'm excited for in another 10 years to look back, and I'm sure I'll think the same thing. Like,
that's so cool. Isn't it so fun though too? Like when you're able to step on in a situation and just be like, boom, 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 boom. And then what's fun with me is like, I'll step in a situation and I'll just put the lights up before I even look at the camera. Set it all up, and I'll turn on the camera with the people in it. I'm like, this
is what I wanted to look like.
So it's like you just start to do it over and over and over and get that confidence. I asked that question because I've been doing this for 20 years, and I don't know if, like, I don't want to be cocky or like arrogant, but I don't know if I can do much more, because I feel like I've literally put myself in almost every situation. And so in 10 years, when you look back, you'll probably have the same thing and be like, I don't know if I can get better. Like, what, unless there's new technology that can come out, or like a new situation. That's so cool, man. So you're 25?
31.
I just assumed because you said 15, 10 years, 25.
10 years ago, I got started went on an LDS mission, all that jazz, came home, went to school up at BYU, Idaho. And basically my second semester, I started off as a business major, took a macroeconomics class and was like, oh crap, like this is not the path that I'm supposed to go. Met a friend that did video production, and I was just like, that's what I'm doing, and switched my major to a communications major with an emphasis in video production.
Nice. Where'd you go to school?
BYU, Idaho.
Nice. So I went to UVU and I did the same thing. I started
business.
Knowing I wanted to get into video. So I remember being in like a business class, and they're like, so let's do a profit analysis on your business. And I was like, cool. All you need is a computer and a camera and everything is profit.
Yeah.
Man, did I learn the hard way that's not true.
Yeah. See, when I started as a business major, I had zero clue I wanted to do video.
Cool.
No clue. Like growing up, I was like a lot of kids, like made fun, stupid videos with my friends and stuff, but never was like, oh, I want to do this as a career. It was like YouTube was becoming a thing. And so like I have some videos posted on Facebook and YouTube that are hidden now because they are cringy.
You don't need those getting out.
Yeah, no. But
I have those too.
Oh yeah, everybody does. But dude, that was so I like started as a business major and just no clue what I wanted to do in life, and super grateful that fell into my lap and I was able to just like be like, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And I'm just gonna figure it out, because I loved the idea of marketing. I just hated the idea of doing like the business side of things. And so when I found video, I was like, okay, I could do like marketing with this, but not have to deal with the business part of it. So, which you still have to as a freelancer and stuff in a way, at least.
Totally. And this is interesting because I haven't even asked you, like, we haven't been like, all right, let's start the journey. You just went right into it, which is you started as a kid, you did your videos. Yeah. So then when you say you fell into it or you found a camera, like at what point in your life was it that you may have thought this is an avenue to take?
Yeah. So man, I'm trying to think of maybe the exact moment. I know one of the moments was I had switched to video production, and in the communications department, they have it's required to take like intro to comm or something like that. And so it's a class that gives you a really high level overview of basically all the communication stuff, PR, public speaking, copy, just like everything. And at BYU Idaho, there's actually a program called the Soapbox Agency, and it's a creative agency that it's through the school, but it's like its own separate thing. It's still like a school program, but it's like its own separate thing. And they actually work with real clients. And the agency, what would you even call them? Just the person, it was a student, but every semester kind of got placed into a different leadership position.
Nice.
The student that was kind of in charge of the agency at the time came in, and the video production people all came in and did like a presentation. And I was like, wait, you can do this as like a job, like a full actual job? And that's when it clicked for me, like, okay, especially in the world of social media, as it was 10 years ago, businesses need video to be relevant on social media.
Yep.
I can make videos for these companies and they'll pay me for it. And that it like clicked at that moment. I was like, that's what I want to do. And I had friends that were doing the narrative work, and I kind of wish I dived into that more. But for me, my logical brain was like, I need to make money so that I can have a family, blah, 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 whatever. These companies need videos and they'll pay me money.
Yep.
Perfect marriage, like that for me. And that was like the moment it clicked. And I was just like, yep, that's I'm going to do that. Like video, social media, marketing, commercials. That's what I'm doing.
And did the idea of like painting and drawing, did it just click at that point, or was it still just like as you did this, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm now doing what I've always wanted to do?
See, that came later.
Really?
And that's what's interesting.
No,
but
you just wanted to do this because it looked fun.
I knew it was creative, and I knew that I could make money from it, and like, okay, this could be a career. But like that idea or like that understanding of, oh, this has always been in my bones, and I'm just now like finally able to bring it to life, didn't come until maybe halfway through my career, maybe about 5 years ago. And I started to get more into that creative, like the quality of light and really like every frame of painting sort of thing. And that's when I fully realized, oh, this is where it comes from. It comes from Josh when he was like 15 years old, wanting to be able to do all this creative stuff. That's where this is like really all coming from.
Very cool. So you didn't quite know, you just had this intuition that this was a fun thing, and then it turned into what it has. That's super cool. Like the fact that you fell into it, you were listening to something was guiding you on the right path. Yeah. That's super cool. So when you were doing, when you were like 15, you were saying you were watching Peter McKinnon, and
that was about when I was like 21, when I was like starting to watch that.
I'm trying to like see where I was at those points, because I think I was 15.
That was 2020. 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say I was 2015. I was 15. That was 2015 because I was at Supertramp at that point. Okay. And that's when Sam Calder started to come out with his stuff. And we're like, we got to change our style, man. Yeah. And he's doing transitions we've never seen before.
Yeah. I didn't realize you worked at Supertramp. That's wild.
Yeah, no, that's,
dude. I worked. That's another guy, like, you know, OG. Yeah. I'm just like, wild.
I worked there for like 4 years, and I came on right as Parker left. So I came in to basically replace what he was doing, and worked there for like 4 years, and got to travel and do all the cool things, and that was a super fun job.
I'll have to go back and see if I can spot your face in some of the videos.
There's some behind the scenes. Yep. It became like a thing where we had two different teams, and when Devin didn't want to do it, or he was doing a project or a passion project, I would essentially take on a lot of the brand deals. Okay. And so me and Carter, or one of the other producers, would go out and shoot. But for the first little bit, I was like Devin's right-hand guy.
Oh, sick. No way.
Just basically became the director DP that I'd show up to sets and be like, where's Devin? And I'd be like, I promise by the end of this, you're going to like me. But Devin didn't come. You're like, really? That sucks. By the end of the shoots, they're like, we love you. This is awesome. Great. So
no way. That's your
cool. So that's why I'm interested in the YouTube side of things, because that's like a huge part of my career. But you started watching Peter and Sam Calder, and you pair that with where you were at in your career. 2015, you were that was 10 years ago, so you were just starting. So did they influence you in any way to like as far as making it a career? Because you were saying when you saw it at the career fair or whatever agency,
basically
we'll call it the career fair. That was like right when you were watching those guys. And so I'm always interested to see when that spark of like, this could be my career. And that happened at the same time, because those guys were all making money on YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
Did you see social media as a path, or were you like, I want to go down into the Hollywood world? Or are you like, I just want to do freelance and make weddings? And
you know, I didn't think social media would be the path, but from almost the very beginning, I was very, I wanted to be on social media. Like, I knew that I wanted to post on social media, and I knew that would be a way to just be able to connect with people, which that has been probably one of the greatest blessings in my life, is the amount of people that I've been able to connect with and friends that I've been able to make because of social media. But yeah, I think, you know, it was part of it, and I'm sure lots of people from that time, it was like, I want to make a career, but I want it to be something fun. I don't want to do what the past generations have done. I don't want to sit behind a desk. I want to travel. I was super like excited about traveling, and I never did as much as like those guys did, but wanted to travel. I wanted to be able to see things around the world and just capture it. Like, and you maybe not capture it, but use that as an avenue to travel the world and like do that kind of stuff. And so, like I feel like there was multiple aspects to it all at the same time, like wanting to do something fun, also be like, oh shoot, this could be a career, but also like, I just want to have some fun. Like, you know, like and make something creative and just not do
a desk job.
Anything, desk job or just anything close to
traditional.
Yeah. So I think the age of social media and dude, like, holy crap, that's some throwback stuff. That was when I went to like Chicago, and
is that you in the middle?
Yeah, bro.
Doesn't even look like you.
Crap.
Oh, now I see you. I just see you closer.
Yeah, that was
it's the facial hair.
2017. That was just a baby, dude. You know, but like just back in the day, like that was what everybody did on social media. Was
100%, dude. Mine looks just like yours.
Man. Oh, bro, it's so funny to look back at that. But again, I'm super grateful for. Looking back now, I didn't realize then, but I was getting the crap out of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was posting things that, looking back, I'm like, oh, that's cringy, but
no, it's part of the journey, man.
Everybody's got to post the crap at the beginning, like way too saturated,
Oh, dude, mine looks the same way. the clarity.
Oh, dude.
Jack that up.
Crank it up. I'm trying to think of who's... I know I used like somebody's presets. I think I actually used Peter McKinnon's presets for a lot of it. Like that's red stroke or whatever.
Presets are funny too, because your camera's like not set like theirs, and so you throw it on, you're like, oh yeah, this must be it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess this works. This is good. Yeah, so but yeah, man, those guys, they super influenced me just in all the best ways possible. And I remember at some point thinking I need to take inspiration but not copy, because for me, my style that I've grown into, I don't do like crazy transitions. I don't do crazy edits. And I remember trying to do all that stuff back in the day, and whether it's because I suck at that stuff and it was just like, that's just not my style. Might have been. Or just it really isn't my style. I was just like, I'm not going to try and do these crazy transitions and the Sam Colder whips and all that. And I'm just like, and I think because of that, I've now leaned a little bit more into that traditional cinematography. I have some friends that have gone the very, very traditional route, going to film school and all that jazz. And I've taken a lot of inspiration from them, and they've been mentors to me. And so I try to find that balance of old school cinematography, but with the abilities and the gear and the techniques that we have in today's world.
So when you say you're talking a lot about editing, like, did you do a lot of editing? Do you enjoy editing?
I used to do a ton. I hate editing.
Do you? I hate editing. What do you hate it? Please tell me. I want to know what you hate about it.
I realized this not too long ago. I did a lot of, like, growing up, or like during my early time in my career, it was a lot of events, stuff like that. And so you're sifting and pulling through so much footage, and I'm just like, literally freaking kill me. I've realized though,
especially montages, and you're like, I don't know what this is going to be. And then you just have to start putting things in places. I hear you on this.
That's the worst. I've realized though, if it is a scripted, storyboarded, that kind of
you know where to put the shots, and then you can add some creativity.
Exactly. 100% totally down to do that. However, I realize that is, again, not where my skill set is at, and I would rather hand my footage off to somebody else that can really spice it up. Like some stuff that I've worked on that I think some of my favorite work was Eric Klein. He's a editor. He used to be in Utah. Now he's in LA. The dude's a freaking wizard. Like, he edits, if you know Mason Prendergast, he edits all of Mason's work. Like, just a freaking dog. Like,
so he's just an editor.
He's just an editor. He has done cinematography, all that stuff, but now I think he just does full-time editing.
That's cool.
He's a freaking dog. So I'm like, I would rather just hand my footage off to him, let him make his magic, and then hand it off to a colorist and let them really do their magic. But I'll edit it if I need to. I edit all of my own social media stuff, but anything really crazy and technical, I hate doing it.
I love editing, and
really,
it's really weird to hear you.
Really,
that's where I started. I actually liked computers, and so I went down a couple routes, and then was in the film class at high school, and I was like, this is so fun. And it started with like putting music together. Anyway, there's an aspect to editing that I hate, that I think that I'm jealous of that you have, which is, and I kind of compare it to like an NBA player. Like, they get to play the game and then they're done working. So I'm similar to DPing. You're at the shoot and then you're done working.
It's my favorite.
It's the suckiest part. When you finish a shoot and you're like, no, I have so much work to do in the editing bay, and now I got to go figure out when I'm going to do that and how I'm going to do it. So that part I hate, but no, I find that's why I like people, because I actually really enjoy it. And I'm kind of a loner. I enjoy being alone. This career makes you be social, and I can do that too, but like, I enjoy myself, and I'm just like in an editing bay, and it's a good edit. It's hard to be a button pusher, and have to be like, there's just a lot of different types of editing that are tough, but
I mean, if you like being alone, editing's the place to be.
Dark cave.
Just lock yourself away
and focus. But it's also where the profit is, man. Like, when you're, especially for an agency, that's where we make the most of the money, because, and a lot of agencies do that. They'll spend all their money on the shoot, and then the editing, they'll make the money. So cool. So then when you ended up, let's see, you were 22-ish when you started going down this route?
22, something like that.
So then you, what happened after that when you decided you want to do it? What did you start to film? Like, how did you make money? I guess
lots of weddings.
First thing. Okay, cool.
Lots of weddings at the beginning.
In Idaho?
Yep. And I would travel down here to Utah as well, and make that commute way more often than I wish I would have. But lots of weddings.
And is that just because people knew you filmed, or did you try to get
basically
weddings?
And then it was like word of mouth, so and so, and
just grew.
Dude. And then just like little business things. So I worked at the Soapbox agency for about a year, something like that. And then I actually went in-house at a company called Stu Kent. They make like ebooks specifically, at least I don't know about now, but back then it was very specifically for like social media marketing. And because things just changed so fast, they didn't want to be like an actual publisher, like a physical textbooks. And so they did this like e-model learning. They also did like simulators for social media. Like you would post and then their simulator would, okay, this is going to get X amount of views or whatever. So I worked for them for about a year as well. And I was like their first in-house video guy. So they gave me a budget of, I think it was like 10 grand to buy all the camera gear, which
that's not bad.
Yeah. Back then, I'm like, I had to buy a camera, a tripod, the whole thing. And I'm like freaking kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Was there for about a year as well, and then I went back to the university, but I went into their in-house AV team because I wanted to get my hands on like Reds and like bigger cameras, bigger setups, and worked there for about 6 months, something like that.
Cool.
And then I actually found an agency, like a full, just I guess technically it was a creative agency, but mostly video production back then, down in Idaho Falls.
Nice.
And it's called Porta Pro Media, like some of the best dudes, like just love those guys. And they were starting to expand their company. And I was like one of their very first like video guys that was part of that expansion. They had a video guy, like both Tyler, the owner, and there you go. Holy crap. That was, so 2018. I worked there for a year and a half or something. So 2018 to end of 2019. So yeah, basically a year as well. And that was super awesome for me because they were like, we want you to take this Red camera and make as cool, the coolest stuff that you can.
Yeah.
And so that freedom was so awesome for me to just be able to have that equipment, we were at this racetrack and that's the owner, Tyler. He was like, I want to get this shot of the dirt like flying up. And I was like, dog, if you want to ruin your camera, you go for it. And
you got roasted.
I know. That was like, I was like,
roasted, as we say.
Yeah. I was like, that's you, bro. This is your camera. Like you can put it in the line of fire. But like we went out there and just did a ton of just fun stuff. And they just let me just have fun and just be creative.
What was this company like? Why were they just letting you shoot whatever? Did they have clients?
They did, yeah. But it was like,
is this Jordan River in Salt Lake City?
No, that's up in Idaho Falls. It's called like Noise Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big dirt bike guy.
Yeah.
Love tracks.
That's me. And they were just like, let's just go. This was one of the first projects I worked on when I started working there. And they just wanted me to just rip and just have fun. And then I edited this project. And that was very much, I was shooting and then editing, and editing.
Or the one where so it was a media company.
Yeah.
And were you the only guy? Like, I'm just curious what they were producing.
They were producing a lot of stuff. So like, I think some of the clients they had back then was like, that was for like a motocross store like in Idaho Falls. And so we were making some stuff for them.
Cool.
This shot right here, this is actually from a documentary that we started working on called Bison Boys. And Tyler, the owner, it was his wife's cousins and they owned bison. And so it was called Bison Boys. We just did this like big documentary. It's on YouTube. And it was a blast. Like this was like, I look at that camera setup and I'm like, what the hell?
Is that a Red One? It looks so old.
No, I think it was
Epic.
Probably an Epic. Yeah. Probably an Epic.
Oh, and is that a Sigma?
Yeah, we got a Sigma Cine on there. Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. So we got like some Zacuto viewfinder stuff on there. And again, like just very much like, hey, let's just go and like get the best stuff that we can and just have fun with it. So, but yeah, they were doing like motocross stores, dentists. They've transitioned now to a lot more product stuff. They bought a robot arm. Cool. So they do a lot of that kind of stuff nowadays, which they're killing it as well. But so it was just like, it was super helpful. And then from there, I actually when I stopped working there, I moved down here to Utah, went full-time freelance, and it was either I had graduated college as well, done with college, and so we're like, all right, let's get out of Utah or out of Idaho Falls. And it was either LA or Salt Lake.
Yeah.
That was end of 2019. 2020, COVID hit.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, thank God we did not go to LA. Like, but thankfully I had built like a ton of connections in Utah. One of the first gigs I was ever on was with this guy named Jared Janes. He's a gaffer here in Utah. He brought me on as a grip, and I was just like, dude, I don't care. I'll work for free. I just want to get on set. Don't care. Just want to see how things roll. And that right there is actually the Chipmunk. That was the first set I was ever on. And little things like Jared's like, hey, will you grab me a 25 Stinger? And I'm like, what is that? What's a Stinger? I need a cube tap with that. I'm like, what the is a like no clue, but it was so helpful for me. The guy that actually was the DP for this name's Christopher Ripley. This dude actually shoots like Ariana Grande nowadays. Like, the dude's an awesome DP. So it was so helpful for me to just be on set, see how these pros do things, and just slowly started learning from there. And I worked as a grip for a long, long time because A, that was all I was capable of doing.
And got you in the door.
I just wanted to learn. I just wanted to see how the machine of production rolls. And then Jared would just bring me on more shoots. And dude, that was when the pants are a little too tight there, but
that was it, man. They're getting baggy now.
That was at Red French Rental. They did like a red event or something, and some red reps were there. And so I've just, since moving down here, I've tried to just be as involved, and I'm like, I don't care if it's paid or not. I just want to learn. I just want to be on set and learn from people. So that's been my career, at least the beginning part of it.
Way cool. So the whole time you're like doing these, you can turn that off. It's distracting me. Thanks. It's like squirrel constantly. So what I was going to get to is, while you're at these production agencies, because this is part of the journey, like, did you know what you wanted to do yet? Like, you were a grip, you were a gaffer. Were you like, I'm going to be a DP, or were you like, I'm going to be a director?
I had no clue what a DP
Still
was
didn't
back
know.
then. When I was at that agency in Idaho Falls, didn't know what a DP was, didn't know what a gaffer was, no clue. I just knew that it was video production. It was just video.
Yeah, just make videos.
And I'm like, okay, I think I had a general idea of what a DP was, but not like, oh, that's what I want to do. But it was more so for like when I was on a set at like Porter Pro or at Soapbox, is like, hey, you're the DP, so you're like the one in charge.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what that means exactly, but okay, sure. But didn't know what a gaffer was or anything. It wasn't until I got down here and started working on sets that I really realized the roles, the roles that were on play. And as I worked in different roles, I mean, I worked as a PA when I started out just to get on set, worked as a grip, worked as, I think I did some art one time. I worked as a first AD, like quite often for Chamber Media. I did a lot of work with Chamber Media.
Nice.
Worked as a first AD for them a lot. And, again, like, it's money. I'm like, I need money. I'm a freelancer. I need money. I don't care. And slowly, as I've perfected my craft as a DP, and people know me as a DP, they don't ask, hey, can you come first AD for us? Like, hey, we need a DP. So, which is fine. It takes time to just build your reputation. And it's been 5 years since I moved here to Utah and started doing that. And I'm like, okay, I've now officially made a name more for myself here in Utah.
As a DP. So just give the people some advice on like what you were doing when you were getting all these different jobs and you were working in all these different roles. Why were you doing that? But also, like, you have like the ambition you had. And what was going through your head as you were hustling, essentially. Figuring out what you wanted to do. Like, talk to me about that ambition that you had. Because it sounds like you're really just like going for it.
Oh yeah. I used social media to connect with as many people as I could. I sent them DMs and said, hey, my name's Josh. I'm new here in Utah, just getting started out. I want to get on sets. I don't care whether it's paid or not or whatever the role is. Like, I'm willing to come on for free as a PA. Just want to learn. And nobody's going to say no to that.
Yes.
Especially if it's free. And I'm like, bring me on. Like, the payment was the education and the experience. And so once I got on set, I made sure, even if I was just a PA, I made sure I had a good attitude no matter what, and that I hustled. Like if it was like, hey, I need a bottle of water, like I've got it already with me, or I'm gonna grab it real quick and then bring you a snack as well.
Yeah.
And because of that, people are like, oh, dude, Josh is a dog. Like, he's awesome to be with on set. And just, like, he's a good hang. Like, if you're going to be on set for 10, 12 hours a day with people, like, you want people that are just good to be around.
Yes.
And then they realize, oh, Josh is, like, you kind of, as a PA, here in Utah, things are very different compared to LA. But as a PA, I injected myself into things that I probably shouldn't have. Like the grip and electric department needs something, and I'm like, oh, I'll help. Like I go and help them, and they're like, oh, you're way more capable than what a PA just does. Like next time you're on set, we want you as a grip.
Nice.
Hell yeah, dude, I'll be there. Like I love to be there, and it'll be paid. I'm like, sweet.
Way cool.
So just slowly built that. Slowly met more people. Again, connected with people on social media and just like, hey man, love your stuff. I'd love to go to lunch with you sometime. And I still go to lunch with people all the time, and I expect nothing from them. I'm like, dude, just literally want to get to know you.
Yeah.
Just want to hang. And there's been times where I left a lunch meeting and be like, yeah, we didn't really jive, and that's all right. Like, we're just whatever. And then some of my biggest opportunities came from just having lunch with somebody. And then they reach out a week later, hey dog, we need a DP or a cam op or whatever, you want to join?
Yeah,
absolutely, bro. So
that's so cool, because so many people get into this industry and they're looking for something in return, right? So there's an alternate motive to what they're doing, and it's pretty easy to see through when people are like, I want something from you, versus like, hey, I just want to get to know you. I understand you have a lot of value.
Yeah.
You know, what can I do to help you? What can I do for you because you need help?
Yeah.
Versus like, what can you do for me? So that's huge advice.
Yeah. And dude, the number of times that I paid for lunch when I had no money.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, I asked you to lunch. You know, just it's a small gesture, but
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Bro, barely out of college, you know. I'm like, I
got this, don't worry.
I have no reason paying for this right now, but I
that's cool.
I know it'll come back tenfold. So yeah.
That's cool. I love that, because that's a ton of great advice for anyone that's trying to get into the industry. It reminds me of when I was I was on a TV show here in Utah, and I had a similar experience where I was actually in the camera department, but I was like there was 2 ACs, and then I'm just there to like chill and hang out and give obviously help as much as possible, but didn't have a role. And then I didn't know this either, but as you're starting to like see things that are happening in different departments, you're like, I want to help, I'll help. And then you start to become friends with people, and you're like, hey, you need a Apple box? Cool, I'll go get it. And then at the end of the shoot, one of the guys is like, hey man, you're awesome. Just be very careful, especially out of Utah, like stepping into other departments. Yeah. And I'm like, why? They're like, because it's sacred, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't do someone else's job, especially in the union. Yeah. And so, it's fun that you had that same experience. But yeah, anyone in Utah, get on set, help out, but be careful.
Yeah, be careful. And also be careful. It's a fine line of, you want to get that experience. However, you can get taken advantage of so easily. And I don't know what that line is. I don't know where that looks like, but you have to be careful about it, because people can. I have friends that have been taken advantage of, like, to an extreme, and I'm like, bro, you've got to just say no. And they're like, I know, but what if the opportunity? I'm like, no, it's not. It's not going to happen. Like, they know that they can just suck everything out of you, and they're not going to change. So just stop. And finally they do, and it's like that whole toxic relationship thing where you get out of it and you're like, oh shit, that was
bad.
Yeah.
And it is interesting, because you get kind of this like carrot dangling in front of your face of like the opportunity. This is what Steven Spielberg did. Like, you'll become this and that. Yeah. But it was the same after that TV show. The AC, the second AC, reached out, and he's like, "Hey, we'd love to have you on season 2."
Oh, sick.
And I was like, "Awesome." He's like, "But it's not going to be paid, and it's going to be 6 months long." And I'm like,
"Yeah, hell no."
No. Yeah. I showed my worth. Yeah. And if you guys aren't going to pay me, I'm going to go do something else. So. Fortunately, I did, but who knows what that could have turned into? But that could have easily been taken advantage.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
So, you're on sets, you're hustling, you're getting opportunities. When did you decide that the camera department or the DP was like? Did you have like an experience on set that was you made that decision? Because it sounds like you're a gearhead too, and you just love the camera.
Yeah,
so I'm sure you're naturally inclined to move towards the camera department?
I think, excuse me, I always was going down that path. It just, like I said, I didn't know what a DP was. And so it was a very natural, as I got on sets and saw, oh, like, this is who is in charge of like the image, like the gaffer. A lot of gaffers, I love this about gaffers, they want to be as close as the DP as possible. But, and I totally understand, they don't want to have to be the final sign, the signature. And as the DP, you have to be willing to take that, okay, if this image sucks, this is on me. If it's good, it's not my, like, it's that whole extreme ownership. Like, if it's bad, it's on me. If it's good, everybody else is, everybody else made this happen.
The director gets.
The director, sure, if the director gets
gets the cred.
Yeah. But yeah, I naturally realized, like, okay, that's who's in charge of the image. That's who's the keeper of the image. And that's what I want to do. That's the ultimate goal. And I probably took on the title of a DP probably too early. But that's something I've talked about on social media. I'm like, everybody's path's a little bit different. Like, nobody has the right to say you are a DP or you're not a DP or you're a cinematographer or not a cinematographer. Like, nobody has it's not like a doctor. Like, we don't go to school and get a freaking,
I'm a DP.
Yeah. It's like, whenever you feel like it's right, it's right. Anyways. Yeah. I just, at some point I was like, that's what I do. And that's who I want to be known. Yeah. Yeah. So just fell into it and just owned it.
Yeah, so you're obviously operating camera a lot. Yeah. A traditional DP now doesn't do any of that. They're just like sitting back with the director and telling people what to do, right? Yeah. Which is actually a lot of fun. Yeah. Like I said, using your brain. You're still camera operating a lot.
Yeah, so, I love it. I don't know why. I love being on the camera still. Yeah. I love it. Cool. I feel weird not.
Well, because you're a gear, you love gear.
Yeah, I love gear, and maybe I need to work on my communication better to be able to, like, have the camera operator fulfill my vision. But I'm just like, oh, it's just so much easier. It's less friction. It's less steps. Like, I just know this is the type of shot I want, and it's between me and the director, and then I just get the shot. I don't have to, me and the director, then me and the cam op. Like, I don't know. So, on bigger stuff, for sure, I will, be sitting back in a
monitor. Yeah, that's cool. Especially if you can have a camera op that you trust. Yeah, can actually do the image. And do you have anyone in, like, that you work with that you, like, could tell someone to do it and they would just do it? Or is that, you don't have to name names or anything, but just like, is that like very often that you always on the camera?
More often, and it's probably more because of budget reasons that I'm not on, that I am on camera. Like, we don't have the budget for a cam op. But yeah, there's been times, like when we were here actually, with Film Lab, Grayson was my cam op. Yeah. And I trust him a lot just because he also is a DP and he also is very, very talented. And so I'm just like, I was way just focusing on the lighting and working with Tenzin and Ian to make sure that the lighting was good. And he was focusing on that. And so that was one of the more recent first-ish times of having something like that. And I was like, oh, this is really refreshing. Like,
did you like that?
I did, actually. Yeah, it felt weird. It felt really, really weird, but it was fun.
Yeah, that's cool. And I love that too, because it's like, I'll say it again, it's your mind. And it's so fun to be able to just like paint a picture with other people's skills. Yeah. But it's all in your head. So talk to me just about, now that you're a DP, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but now that you're self-proclaimed DP, right? Yeah. That's how it goes. But it's true, especially if you find something that you love in the industry. You're like, okay, now that's what I want to do, and I can do the skills, so I'm that person. And then you obviously create a niche and people will start to reach out to you for that. Talk to me about DPing in general, and just like how you developed your eye and your intuition and the skill that you have to call yourself a DP, and even camera operating. Yeah.
So I feel like I try to light things pretty naturally. And as I've grown in my career, I've really focused, or I've just paid attention to what light does in the natural world. Yeah. One of my, I think some of the favorite things about light, or like things that light does, is whenever you're in a downtown area and the light's reflecting off of the big skyscraper, and that light is like this quality of light that is so different than anything else. It has such a beautiful look. Or when the sun is coming up over the horizon and it's passing through leaves and the texture that it gives on the walls. Like, I just paid attention more and more to that and tried to be very mindful of that, so that when I am recreating that, like, I know what to look for. But I feel like that's been super helpful for me, just to pay attention to what light does in general. I also watch a lot of YouTube. Like, I mean, I try to, I do and I don't. Like, it's one of those things where you have to, at some point, I think that's kind of why I stopped watching Peter McKinnon a whole lot, was because I was like, okay, He's
influencing you too much and you needed to do.
I'm like, I just need to do. I need to stop consuming and I just need to do. And I need to get out and practice. And that's, so I still watch like Lewis Potts or, those guys. I watch their videos, I take inspiration, I try to learn, and then I'm like, okay, I need to implement this as soon as possible. So that I can understand exactly what's happening and just like put a notch in my belt sort of thing. So practicing for me has been a huge thing. I haven't done as many passion projects as I wish I would have, but this upcoming year, that's one of my big goals, is just create some really fun stuff, work with some really cool people, and to just do that. But I think those are some of the things that I've worked on, and just practicing, and like social media is awesome because I love educating people, but I am like, okay, I've got to make sure that what I'm talking about is correct. And so I just have to really dive in more and make sure that, and there's been plenty of times
you say stuff and
it's totally wrong. It's totally wrong. And I'm like, all right, that was a good learning experience. So I think a lot of people are just afraid to fail. And I am too. Like, I'm terrified to fail. However, I understand that that's just part of the process, and I'm just like, okay, the faster I can fail, the faster I can get better.
So much of it on social media too are opinions and like experiences that you've had that you're implementing, and people just don't jive with them. And you're always going to have the keyboard warriors, and they're always going to hate, but just keep going. That's like the main thing.
And it's like, that's also something that I've had to learn, is there is more than one way to do something. And so I've had to learn to stand my ground with some things, because I'm like, okay, just because you don't agree doesn't mean that it's technically wrong. Like, I learned this skill from somebody like Jared Janes, or, and like, he's very good at what he does. And so it might not be what you do. However, it's 1,000 ways to skin a cat sort of thing. Like, so I've had to learn how to like stand my ground with social media keyboard warriors as well. And then I think that's also helpful for me, because it just deepens those roots on those principles that I'm teaching and just learning, and like, okay, no, if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But if it's just an opinion and it's just a different way of doing it, then
subjective.
Like, nah, dude, like, I'm gonna fight back and tell you to just shut up or whatever. Like, hey, cool, like, that's awesome that you do it that way. Good for you, bro.
Do you ever feel like you win those though?
No. There
Sometimes they shut up,
because then what happens is they'll try to say something about my appearance or whatever.
You're like,
oh, all right. Well, now you've lost. So, and then they don't comment back.
That's actually a good point.
Fair enough.
If they change the subject or go down a different route, like, yes, I won.
I kind of had a mullet at one point, like a year ago, and one guy he's like, I'm not going to take advice from somebody with a mullet, and I'm like, well, that's how you know you've lost.
Well, go to someone else. That's so funny. So I want to talk about looking at light and like analyzing it and understanding it. I'm sure you watch a lot of movies too. Like, I am obsessed with looking at people. This sounds really creepy. Looking at people's faces and seeing how the light works. And so I've actually asked other people this. Are you do the same thing? Do you analyze what this light's doing?
All the time. So
I'm always doing that, and I love to do that in movies too. And I like to figure out where the lights are in the movie. And it's hard to just watch a movie now, because that's like so much of it. And then how they like natural scenes like this and things like that. So what do you look for? And then talk to me about your style. I know you've already kind of touched on it, things being a little more natural, but as you were watching YouTube videos and as you were seeing things, how did that kind of curate your style? And what are you looking for when maybe you're looking at a subject? Let's just talk about that, like a person. Because I remember when Devin Supertramp was all natural. We're lighting not lighting people. It was landscapes. But when I started to light people, that's when the real art started to show. And it's like that. It's more I mean, Tenzin's really good at teaching it too. But.
He is, yeah. This was one of the videos that kind of blew things up for me, just because we were talking about like natural lighting.
And I didn't know you before. When I met Tenzin because he shot here and then you shot here.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize you guys did that one together.
Yeah. That was super fun. And it's so funny, like, I'll get to your question, just a little side tangent. I filmed this video when I had no followers, really. I had like a couple thousand, nothing. Like, I think I had maybe 1,000 or 500 subscribers on YouTube. Like, it was very much that whole, like, okay, I'm just going to keep putting in the time, whatever. And I filmed this video and I almost didn't publish it.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, it's been a while since we filmed this. Like, I published it in December, and I think we had shot this in like August or something. And I'm like, okay, Josh, don't be a bitch. Like, just do it, dude. Yeah. And I published it. This video went viral. Like, it just blew things up for me, both on the long form and on the short form stuff that I posted on Instagram.
Wow.
And you know, everybody says there's going to be a time in your life where things like change, really like take a hard 90-degree, and this was it for me. Like, and I'm super grateful that I didn't listen to my gut on this one, and like
just push post.
I was just like, just whatever, dude. Just
the hardest part is just pushing post.
Yeah, and I'm super grateful for Tenzin. You know, we did this together, and it's fun working with other content creators and that are professionals and content creators like Tenzin, because he knows what he's doing. We're using actual, you know, combos and diffusion and all that jazz. And he also wants to make some content. So it's like a win-win thing. But getting back to your question on lighting, I think for me, what really started to, I started realizing that certain movies were all being shot by like the same people. Like, gosh, this is embarrassing. I forgot his name just now. He shot The Revenant.
Oh, I know exactly. I can see his face. I don't know his name though. He's very natural, wide angle.
I've got to look it up because that's going to drive me nuts.
Let's throw it up.
Yeah, throw it up for me.
Dude, The Revenant's one of my favorite movies because of the way it was shot.
Exactly. Like,
it's very Devon Supertrampish. That's why I loved it. It's like natural light.
Yes. Yeah.
Golden hour.
But I think it's like one of those things where I don't, even if you're just using natural light, I'm like, I want to control that light and make it feel natural. And so, dude, oh my gosh, who is it? Emmanuel Lubezki. Jeez, what a shame that I forgot his name.
I wouldn't have known.
Gosh,
I'm not a name. I'm not a tech. I'm like, just.
I feel like I like get on things like this and I like go, I get like freaking memory loss. But I start watching these different movies and I'm like, there's just something about this that like, it makes me feel something way more like than other movies. The way that
what do you mean by that? Like the natural,
not even like, I love how naturally this looks, but also how crunchy it is. It's very contrasty.
On the screen, and we're seeing it very contrasty.
Yeah.
On the camera, it looks better.
Yeah, but like it's very it's crunchy, and they let things fall into shadow, and I'm like, that's life. Like that's the world that we live in, and like I don't want to make things so naturally lit that just doesn't feel real. And so I just, over time, I've tasted these different movies and these different flavors of lighting, and I'm like, this is the flavor. Like, this is my flavor, and slowly learned how to recreate that flavor and also add my own flair to it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I lean a little more like natural with my stuff. I really like good soft light. I like contrast, and I like things to fall into darkness. And I also like some good saturation. Not crazy saturation, but I like punchy things. And I think The Revenant's a great example. I remember the first time watching this movie, and I was like,
dude,
holy, this is...
It's like, oh, that's my favorite movie.
This movie is amazing.
Because I get asked that all the time. What's your favorite movie? And I never really had a list.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, and then I saw this, and then The Gladiator is one of my favorites.
Oh,
but which is probably very similar to the way this is lit, more natural. But one thing that I've learned to speak to this is like, what's interesting, and this is more for people that are green, is like on a wide shot, there's not a lot of, especially if you're shooting like this, you're not adding any light. It's like just especially if you're outside, it's just whatever. And then as you get closer to a person, you're starting to add things and implement things. And something I notice a lot is like they're lit one way on the wide and you punch in, it's got a nice key light and some fill. But that's been really cool, is like understanding, because I'm very similar to you. I love the natural and I love to just bounce light. I like to just put up a board or grab a silver and just, you know. And I actually discovered that on a nomadic shoot, because I used to work for Nomadic. And we were up in Salt Lake shooting. Like I said, I did not light people. And this was after Supertramp. And I remember a few times at Supertramp where I like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. How did I do that? And it's like mostly a bounce. Where I had a diffusion on top of them. Like, that's why they do that. Anyway, we're shooting next to that government building, that big silver. It's almost like a radiator.
Where is it at?
Downtown Salt Lake. It's silver. It's got the big steps. We're walking along that, and all of a sudden the sun just hits that and it lit up the person. I was like, what is happening? It's got that like fake, almost out of this world look. And that's when I was like, okay, I love that look. So
and like little things like that, just the whole point of like continuing to learn and stuff. I just the other day, I've always thought, I literally made a post about it the other day because it was so monumental for me. I've always thought this, but I have never heard anybody else say it and didn't think it was a big deal. What's his face? Patrick O'Brien, Wandering DP, one of my favorite YouTube channels. The dude's just an incredible DP. He made a video talking about how when you're outside and you're bouncing light or, using a bounce board, he's like, don't put the bounce from underneath their face. He's like, light doesn't come from under there. And like I said, I've always thought that, but like everybody always does that. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just stupid. And I'm just like thinking,
get rid of his shadows.
And he's like, I want you to put that bounce way up here and I want you to return that light. It doesn't need to be like full poop, like you just like totally blasting. But up here, just find that angle and then bounce that light onto their face. And I'm like mind blown. Like my mind was literally blown. I was like, oh my gosh, that's interesting. And it's true. Like I like to make things look natural, and I'm like, how can I make things look natural? And that's like something I learned recently, and little things that I'm going to continue to learn. And, but
one thing that I also learned too about similar to what you're saying is when you get that sparkle in the eyeball. That's like super important. And I neglected that for so long. And then all of a sudden it's like, especially if they're really contrasty and you don't see that spark. So a lot of times your bounce is just coming in and adding that, which
just is a little catch light.
So then with your style, you fit in well at Film Lab. And before Film Lab, was there anything you did that's, I guess, monumental or like that you want to talk about before you joined Film Lab? Because you were freelancing for a long time.
I was freelancing for a long time. I'll touch on it briefly. I worked for a guy for about a year. And long story short, I was just the video guy. Turned out that the business that he was running was a total scam. He just got sentenced to 8 years in prison the other day. So
can we talk about what it was?
Sure. It's
because I worked for one of those too.
I think we actually talked briefly about this.
Big Door. Do you remember them?
So
Ponzi scheme.
So this guy, his name, dude, there's so much to unpack with this. Holy crap. So his name's Jeremiah. His nickname was the Bull.
Oh my gosh, I heard about this. You worked for him? My wife showed it to me. She's like, do you know who this guy is? And I hadn't heard of him.
So Jeremiah the Bull Evans, he was running a business, which at the time I was like, that seems like legit and everything. It was an Amazon, they would build Amazon stores for people. And basically it was like, you would provide the capital, like using, it was a drop shipping method at first. So it was like, we need your credit card in order for like when somebody clicks buy on Amazon, your card purchases it from Costco or whatever, it ships it to them, Amazon pays you, and then it was like a 65-35 profit split. And you don't have to do anything. We're going to manage the whole thing. And it's like, it's a passive side money thing for you.
They're just essentially giving the money.
They're providing the capital. And then as well as, I guess, Amazon, you can only have like one store per social security number. So for a company like these guys to grow, they need people to partner with so that there can be more stores. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I worked for him for a year, had a lot of fun. The dude made a lot of money, obviously illegally. We took lots of fun trips to Mexico, and it was a blast. Some of the things that he preached, I don't agree with, but there were some things that resonated with me. Just like, we need just like strong people in the world. Like, there's a lot of evil in the world. Like, we need strong people that are willing to stand up against the shit of the world.
Yeah.
But then he would say things like, "Oh, depression isn't real," and I'm like, "Okay, well, that's
no, that's not true."
Yeah. So, so worked for him for a year. I decided I wanted to start freelancing again, just because I had a gut feeling that something was starting to go south a little bit, and also just truly wanted to start freelancing again. And so hey man, want to freelance? And he's like, "Oh, this is so perfect. Like, I've been trying to figure out how to talk to you. Like, business isn't going as well as we need. I need to put you on like a part-time sort of thing." I'm like, "Oh, perfect. Okay."
Perfect, yeah.
And then like a month later, I'm sure the legal stuff was starting to stack up against him. And he's like, "Hey, I can't like have you on at all. Like, I'll bring you on for little podcasts or whatever."
Yeah.
So, during that time, like I learned a lot about, just business in general.
Yeah.
Learned a lot about, he had a podcast and had a lot of really cool, influential people come on. And so got to meet a lot of really cool guys, that, some of them actually turned out to be scams as well. And some of them are legit, but met a lot of cool people. We traveled to a lot of cool places and did a lot of cool things. So, but yeah, he just got sentenced to 8 years in prison for.
How does that happen? Like, do they go? They don't go into it knowing this is where it's headed.
Dude, I don't know, man. It
happens often. I'm like, how did you get to that point? Because no ethical person's going to go into business thing. I'm going to screw a bunch of people over.
That's what I'm like.
Started to see the dollar bills.
I think either he's not ethical and he went into it.
Just went into it, yeah.
Or at first it was legit. He saw the money, and then just
kept going.
Yeah, just kept screwing people over. Because I mean, to buy these stores, it was like $40,000.
Oh wow!
To buy a store,
yeah.
And it took me a long time to finally realize that this was like not a good dude. But what I finally realized was, like, I had even bought in a store. He gave me a little bit of a discount, but like I still put in about $40,000, and I realized, I was like, this dude was willing to fuck over one of his best friends. He's
not ethical.
And at that point I was like, okay, yeah, screw this guy. He sold me a store, like, and when, especially, that was right when things were really going south. Like, that was when the business was like totally crumbling. Like, there was a lot of shit that was happening. And he sold me a store still, that I'm like, so you were so far gone that you were willing to sell your best friend a store.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the dude had a Lamborghini. He had every cool gun you could imagine. He had trucks. We flew private jets to Las Vegas. Like, the dude, it was about $20 million that he had frauded people out of. So
that's so crazy. And sorry to harp on that.
No,
I love business, and so that's so strange to me when people go down that route.
I know.
It's just not, because it's like, you're gonna get caught. It's never gonna last. Have you not seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah. Yes, I know. The dude, I think he was young and he got some money, and he just was like, he was 25 when I was working for him.
Okay. So
he's 29 now, and he'll be in prison for 8 years. So he's got a kid, barely a year-old kid, and I'm
that
like,
kid's gonna hate him.
You really all right, dude. So that was a weird, and unfortunately that made me, I don't like this, but it has made me very skeptical of people.
Oh yeah.
And it's like this callous now that I'm just like, I'm very hesitant towards working with people or getting in too deep, or if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Like, that was a great example of it.
And it seems like everyone experiences that and they learn, because I've experienced it, and you lose money and it's like, I won't lose money because this guy taught me this. It's like, your emotions. Anyway, that's good advice for anyone listening. It's like, be careful, because money changes people. And I think, but at the same time, you got to learn.
Absolutely.
The best way to learn is to have it happen to you.
Yeah. You've got to go through it.
So, yeah, thanks for going down that road.
Yeah. So
that was interesting.
So stopped working for him, went back to freelancing. I tried doing my own like video production company.
Yeah.
Realized I suck at business. And it was like, okay, I just want to focus really solely on just like as a freelancer, contracting with people. And then let's see, it was October of last year. The guys at Film Lab actually approached me and they were like, hey, we would love to have you come on full time as like a director of photography.
Nice.
And that was incredible. Some of the best work I've ever made was with them. And Mitch, the owner, founder, and like the main director there, he loves pushing the image. He loves, like, one of the first projects that we worked on was with this company called Dime, and the client was, they'd kind of gone back and forth on concepts, and they landed on a concept. The client was like, yeah, this is good, like, but like super just kind of like vanilla, nothing conservative, just nothing crazy. And Mitch was like, I'm not okay with that, you know? And as I think a lot of, myself included, you know, it's like, okay, the client's happy, then like, let's just do that. Like, they're happy with that. But Mitch is like, no, we can make this way better. So he pushes it. And like, when we got the final edit back from that, I was like, holy smokes, this turned out sick. And I had multiple people reach out to me and they're like, dude, hands down, best work you've ever done. Like,
so cool.
By far, like by a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a kind of a long-term contract with them. And then just last week, I'm back to freelancing again, and I'll still be working with them on occasion, but cool. Just love the freelance life, you know, like I like the freedom.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like the freedom, you can't beat it. One of my big goals in life is to just be a dad that could be there for my kids. And I want to be that type of parent that back when I was a kid, they had like the watchdogs or whatever, you know, like dads that would stand at the sidewalk and like just make sure the kids are okay. I'm like, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And the freelance life is that path that will get me to that point. So, I'm excited. It was great working with them. Freaking, like I said, the best work. I definitely hit a plateau in my work before being with them, and working with them just opened up a whole new catalog in my brain, like a whole new understanding of light and how to push an image really, really far. And so super grateful for that time to have been with them.
That's cool, because I had Mitch on this podcast. What was it like working with Mitch and working with that team? Because I'm amazed by your guys' stuff. Like, it was always so good. Yeah. And then there's the editors too. Like, obviously, I don't know who edits their videos. I know
it's kind of all of us, but I know Grayson did a lot of the stuff. Cool. He still does. And
is that his brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the youngest brother. And Talmadge is the middle.
So it's like Mitch, then Talmadge, then Grayson, and then they have one younger brother. He like just got home from his mission. I can't remember his name. Yeah.
So rare to have everyone stay in the same industry.
Yeah. And then there's also their sister Afton, and she also works at Film Lab as well, part-time. But yeah.
So the shoot?
No.
I think I've heard that.
She works more with the podcast team, and kind of she's like their executive assistant kind of for the podcast team.
Very cool. So yeah, just talk to me about like working there, and obviously them pushing your limits and you learning more about light, and just having like Mitch as a creative director kind of, I guess, lifting you up, essentially, and helping push you, because I think it's fascinating, because we talked about on my podcast, we're kind of in that same position where we both have agencies, we're both running something, we have to do business, but creative, but he's way more on the creative side. Yeah. He like loves that side. Yeah. And I like love the business. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. Mitch is a very visionary director. Yeah. I've told him that since day one. And I truly believe that he wants to be creative. Like, he wants to create things, and like, he's also really good at the business stuff. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't, he hates it. Like, he wants to be in the trenches, like doing the creative. And I know it's frustrating for him sometimes. He gets pulled to go do a client meeting or whatever, and he's like, I just wanted to like do this.
And that's why I got Mike.
Yeah, and that's why Mike's there, and he takes care of all that. And they just got an executive producer, Elise, and so she'll be taking more off that so that he can focus more on creative director. And it's will be, because like I said, I'm going to still work with them, but working with them and working with Mitch is awesome. And it's interesting because they don't come from as much of a traditional background with video. They all started off a lot like us. Like, they did more of that videographer route. And then for me, I took like, I wanted to be on big sets. I wanted to get that on-set experience. And so it was interesting working with them because it was like this really beautiful marriage, because for them, there were certain things where they were like, geez, don't know why that's Tom.
Country music.
Oh,
good song.
That was so weird. Let me just put that on full silent.
You're good. Don't even worry.
That was so weird. I don't like, he called and then it went to voicemail and that started playing. Anyways,
it's a good marriage.
Good marriage because I came from that more traditional background.
Yeah.
And they came from more of a run and gun thing. Yeah. And so there was times where, it's kind of a ignorance is bliss. When you don't know a certain thing, you're like, oh yeah, we can totally do it way more scrappy. And for me, I'm like, okay, no, we need like this, like we need, I'm thinking safety. So we need like the most expensive thing because this is going to be a camera out over somebody's head. And they're like, why don't we just take 2 C-stands and just like put it over? And I'm like, I mean, you can, and so it was cool for me because it helped me be a little more scrappy and be willing to do things a little more scrappy. But it was also good for them. They've told me, they're like, dude, you have helped us level up so much because you brought that on-set experience to us to help us understand. I mean, like little things like, I'm trying to think, like when we were shooting here.
I was going to say the trough.
Yeah.
That setup was super cool. You had a pulley.
Yeah.
Just to get that one move.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
And that, that's a great example for people that want to be DPs, how to rely on your gaffer. Yeah. Because I told Tenzin, I was like, set that up. Here's what I'm thinking. Cool. You go and do it. And he, does that crazy thing. And I'm like, this is sick.
Yeah. Because I'm more scrappy too. And so I'd be like, I can just get that handheld and just.
Yeah.
But then it just doesn't have that.
Yeah. It just adds that little bit. So. Yeah, it's great working with them because they are so passionate about what they do, and they really are just like, they're in that startup phase, and so they just want to just make everything as to the best possible. They want to push the image. They have huge aspiration for what Film Lab wants, what they want Film Lab to be. Like Mitch, I think his vision, like, one day he wants to be doing full-on feature-length films. Like he's a creative through and through. And so it was great working with them. And like I said, continue to work with them. But it was good for me. It was really good for me to just break through and allow. And even still, like there's times where Mitch is like, no, we can go darker. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you like, because as the DP, you want to protect the image and make sure the data's there. And he's like, nah, dude, just like let it fall into pure black. And I'm like, okay, all right. So, this is some behind the scenes from, we were out in LA shooting for, it's called Kizik. It's a shoe company.
Oh yeah. I've done stuff with Kizik.
This was a crazy shoot. We, probably the only downside of Film Lab, and it's a good and a bad thing. They are so hungry and they are so confident that they will take on
way too much. I know that.
We shot 2 campaigns.
He did a whole thing about this one. I know he talked about this on his podcast. I think this is one of his biggest, because I said, what's like the biggest failure? Not even failure, but just like, I think he talked about this shoot.
He is, and I love that about him, but like, and again, it pushed me because I'm like, okay, I've always had this in my career, but this definitely did it even more. It's like, how do we make something look beautiful without sacrificing anything, but also being scrappy and getting it done faster. And so that's where I love the traditional route of video production and film. However, it'll be like, oh, it's going to take a whole day just to film this one scene. And I'm like, okay, but does it actually need to, or we've always done it that way, so we're just resorting to that? Like, is there a faster, efficient way? And like nowadays with all the technology we have, like there is, like I used on that clip of me walking with that yoga chick, I was using like the DJI LiDAR system. Don't need a first AC, like, so that's just one less person that Grayson went with Mitch we did it, that we kind of split off and did 2 crews. he went with Mitch and was able to be first AC for him. And so I'm just Komodo and a DJI LiDAR. So is that the traditional way of doing it? Hell no. But did it keep it scrappy and we could get it done quick and fast? Absolutely.
Yeah, but isn't it nice though? Because we're kind of transitioning into this bigger budget, like more traditional. I wouldn't say fully traditional, which is one of the reasons like I was stoked to talk to you, is because we're going down that route. We've been very scrappy and very like me doing so much of the work because I can do it all. And I'm like, man, I love to just sit behind a monitor and, like I said, just paint the vision. And give it to the people with this that want to learn and have the skills. So I think that's so cool. And that's why I wanted to ask you about it, because I just love what you guys produce there. And it's sometimes I have comparison and just like, oh, why am I not that good? Their style's so cool.
But and I would say, you know, the biggest thing for me that I've learned is time is the enemy of creativity. Like it's that whole triangle: time, money, quality. So if you don't have enough time, like you've got to put more money or whatever, you know. And so for me, I am always pushing for more time. You know, if whatever you think you can do it in, like, times it by 3 and your quality is going to go up by a lot. And that was something at Film Lab I always push back on. They're like, do you think we can do this in an hour? And I'm like, how about 3? Let's plan on 3. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I promise you, because you can dial things, you can tweak things. It's like, yeah, I can get a light in really quick, a softbox and a light, you can get that in really quick. But to really dial things in and like be able to talk about the image and paint the image and be like, okay, what do you think of this? Let's try this. Like, to be able to try things alone, just like, let's try it. Let's just see, you know, let's play with it, see if that light does something. Let's, you know, try this move or whatever. And again, if you don't have the time, you can't get that stuff.
So you can experiment.
So
so much of the time those images become the favorites that you are like, the ones the client's like, we don't need those, but you know this would be cool, so you do them at the end of the shoot. And they end up being the favorite.
And the client's like, oh, that's so sick. So I will always cherish my time working with the Film Lab team. Just awesome dudes.
Well, it's cool because I would love to have someone like you that will tell me, no, I can't, because I can do it in 30 minutes.
Hey, bro, I'm freelance now.
Take 1 hour to do that 30-minute shot you just said you could do.
I'm freelance now. You can have me anytime.
We'll definitely bring you back for that for sure, because I need that in my life. But so yeah, you loved working at Film Lab. Loved what you guys produce, and like I've seen that dime video you were talking about. It's so good. And I had a question as you were talking, and I can't remember what it was, but let's go into kind of this decision to go freelance and kind of get us back to where you are currently. And what's up? What's happening right now?
So because of nothing of my own, and I think the universe is pushing me in this direction, my social media has blown up a lot. And I'm super grateful for that. Like I said, education for me is a huge thing. I love teaching, even though I know that I am not the best at what I do by far. If I'm a 6 and I can teach a 1, you know, and help them get to 6, like that for me is awesome. So freelancing for me, gonna be working as a DP. Like I said, I have to be a practitioner. I want to just work with awesome people that want to create, you know, I want to work with the Mitches of the world, like people that are visionary, that want to make awesome stuff. That's like the biggest thing. And then the other side of the sword is the education stuff. And right now I'm in the process of, going freelance was the move I needed to make, because it gives me more of the time to just spend on the social media stuff. More time to record another YouTube video or to work on the next course or whatever that it is for people. And that right now, I mean, it's been a couple days. Like, as the recording of this video, it's been a couple days since I've been back to freelancing. So,
but you've been doing so much of this stuff already.
I was doing all of this because, like I said, it blew up about a year ago, or like January, February of last year. And then when I came on full time with Film Lab, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be still doing this stuff on the side, but it's like, okay, on weekends, in the afternoons, that's when I'm going to be doing it. And so I'd be working Film Lab all day and then go home and start working on my own stuff. And thankfully, that's what I'm super grateful for with what I do as a career, is like, it's very harmonious. I can take whatever I shoot and then go talk about it. And it's an educational piece. for social media. So that's super, super helpful. But I just want to continue pushing the educational stuff and growing on social media. And it has been such a blessing in my life, like such a huge, it's funny because I have lots of film friends that are doing the same thing. They're growing on social media, and like none of us, at least me and the people that I've surrounded myself with, we're like, I don't want to be famous. Like, that's not what I'm doing this for. It's I just want to help people. And then obviously it's fun to get like free gear and work with brands. Like, I just started working with Aperture. Like, cool. They're awesome people. Like, I just want to work with these cool brands. And like, I'm going to Cinegear this weekend and like getting to hang with
so cool
some awesome people and like connect with super cool people. And at the end of the day, all of this is for my future family, like my wife, my current wife, my dog, my future kids. Like, I want to have that freedom to live a happy life with them, to live comfortably, to be able to travel the world or whatever, and just do it through something that I love. And then because of all the stuff that I've seen with like that Jeremiah guy, I want to do it ethically. I don't care if it takes me 10, 20 years. I'm like, if I make my first $1 million in 30, 40 years, cool. No, I don't care. Like, if it means doing it ethically and not stabbing anybody in the back, that's for me the biggest thing. So I know that the path that I'm on, and I was talking to a friend the other day, like, it is, I'm sure you've experienced this, like, there's nothing more freeing than knowing exactly what your path, what your path is. And like, I know that it'll change as time goes on, but I used to be very, I was like, oh, I need to diversify. Like, I need to diversify my income, my job, my whatever. And it just spread me so thin. And like, for the first time in my life, thankfully in my early 30s, I'm like, no, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. This is what I'm doing. And it's so refreshing.
Yeah. And it's fulfilling and rewarding. And the progress is there. Yeah. This is probably a dumb question because I think I know the answer, but what do you like more? Do you like DPing or teaching? Because they kind of go hand in hand.
It's hard. You know, I actually had a friend one time ask me, he's like, if you could be a full-time, like very successful, full-time freelance DP or YouTuber, what would you choose? And I was like, I would actually be a YouTuber because I hate people telling me what to do. I don't like that. And when you're on shoots, there's a lot of NDAs and there's a lot of red tape and whatever. And I understand why. However, as a YouTuber, I'm like, I would rather go make my own, like, let's just say it's a Pepsi commercial. Go make my own Pepsi commercial. Shoot the whole thing, film the whole thing, and then just put it all on social media and let everybody enjoy it. And instead of like, okay, 2 years later, by the way, here's like one picture I can post from that Pepsi shoot that I did. And like, you can see the final product.
That comes out a year later.
And then I can't even like post anything about it until 2 years later or something. So it's a hard, I'd rather YouTube and like do the social media stuff and then just like have full crews. Like my dream and what I want to do is to literally hire a full crew, Tenzin, Ian, like all the boys, all the team, and let's go make something sick, film all of it, make content from it.
Like a passion project.
Yeah. But like treat it as a client. And like, you know, have a full, like hire a first AD and a producer and be like, hey, we need this. I need this type of schedule. If we need a little wiggle room, then it's fine, whatever. Like, if we go over time, I'll pay you guys. I don't care. Like, that's like my freaking dream, dude. I would love that.
And it's so cool that you recognize that. Because when I was at Supertramp, that was like everyone in the industry because we would shoot hand in hand with like a movie being created. So they would give us a budget to go create a promotional video in Supertramp style while they're shooting the video, and we'd get these conversations that are like, man, you guys are so lucky. You don't have to listen to producers or directors or the agencies. You guys just go create stuff. That's actually interesting. Never thought about that. So that's cool. It wasn't as dumb of a question as I thought. Like that makes a lot of sense when you go down that route. And so your income is supplemented by brand work, obviously, but then YouTube, Instagram, and who knows where that's all going to go the next 5 to 10 years. So that's super cool. But it makes sense because you're basically using teaching and your skills to build a life but you don't have your skills being paid for unless you have the teaching side of it.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I would love to, people that follow me be like, hey, I've got 5 spots open or whatever, like as PAs or grips, like anybody that can be here.
Yeah.
Like,
that's good.
I would love that. And like probably the financial smart thing would be like, hey, like pay to come do this, like pay to be here. But I'm like, whatever, like this brand is like, Aperture is going to pay me X amount to make this, so I've made my money. Like you guys just come and learn. Like who cares? I don't care. Like I would love that. Freaking love it. Again, because I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I wish so badly that there was something like that. There was one time where I almost shadowed Parker Walbeck on a wedding shoot, and it was because of me that I didn't. But I like reached out to him. This was before Full-Time Filmmaker had really blown up, and I was like, hey, well, I'd love to just like shadow you on a wedding gig or whatever. He's like, yeah, dude, for sure. Come on. And last minute, I was like driving back from California or something. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, dude, I can't. But like something like that that probably would have been super helpful for me. Yeah. Even though I don't do weddings now, but like just to be around him, learn from him, whatever. So to do that for people now would just be a freaking dream.
That's super cool. And sounds like you're doing it all for the right reasons, which is hard.
Yeah.
You know, because money, Parker said it best actually, which was interesting to me. He's like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing things for money, but money is essentially the barometer. Like it tells you when something's working.
Yes.
Because the income is coming. So obviously people are paying for it and there's eyeballs, there's attention. I was like, that's cool. Because
that's a great way.
It's very easy to go down a road and be like, I'm not doing it for the money, but obviously you've got to make.
And that's a word for the wise. If a production ever says, oh, it's not about the money or whatever, run, because it's like that's at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we have to make money. Like that's just the world that we live in. And so if somebody tries to use that line, like, dude, do you really care about the money? Like, come on, man. Like, let's just
not about where I'm
and like yeah, that just sounds like you're just trying to get some free work from somebody. So I want to make money, but everybody wants to make money, but I just want to do it ethically and
help a lot of people along the way.
Exactly. Yeah. If that's what I get at the end of all of this, like I'll be a happy guy.
So cool. So. Well, I want to wrap it up with where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years with your career.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you kind of already answered it, but
I would say basically that, like, I want to be making lots of money because of the barometer thing. Like, and that hopefully it means that I'm helping lots of people. But more importantly is just doing those exact things that I want to do. I still want to be a practitioner, like I said, still working as a DP, and working with awesome people. And I think I would like to transition more into narrative. Right now I do a lot of commercial work. I would love to do more narrative work just because it's more storytelling, more just the lighting is more grungy and it's just more fun. And then just push, hopefully in 5 to 10 years, like a million followers on YouTube or 1 million followers on Instagram or whatever. Because that means that I'm helping people and like
they're interested.
And like hopefully I'll have a couple kids and a couple dogs and be on a big piece of property or something away from people that I can just relax and be able to see my family. For me, that has always been my biggest thing is my family's in California. I want to have the time and the money to be able to see my family, spend time with my family. Me and my dad, like when I was a broke college kid, I paid for him and I to go skydiving. And he was like, I don't think I could get the guts up to like do it. And I was like, well, I just paid for it, Dad. Your son's broke. So if you waste my money, like
you have to.
So, like I want to pay for me and my dad. I found the other day, you can get like a flight in like a old fighter pilot jet. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like $6,000 for like 45 minutes of flying. I'm like, huh? But like stuff like that. I would love to be able to pay for me and my dad to go do that or whatever. Just my family, to be able to pay for my whole family to go somewhere and spend time as a family or whatever it is. But that's the dream. Like that's the dream, man. And just be happy. That's at the end of the day. Just be happy doing what I love to do and be able to look back at Josh from when I was 15 years old and just be like, dude, you're
doing it.
Your creativity is your bread and butter. It's what makes you money. So your dream came true. So.
Well, you're doing it. You're on the right trajectory. It's cool that you know what you love, that you're doing it for the right reasons. You're helping a ton of people, and it sounds like it's just starting. You're only a year.
I hope so.
It's like taking off.
Yeah.
So you're a baby when it comes to that. So I'm excited for you, man. Let's give some advice. Like, someone that wants to go down your path, and essentially be a DP, but also get to the point where maybe they are being an educator on social media as well.
Yeah. It sounds like such a broken record, but now that I've been through it, I understand that it's so true. Is you just have to start and you have to be consistent. Mm-hmm. It's like going to the gym. I love going to the gym, and if you don't go to the gym, you will learn some valuable life lessons from going to the gym. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. It's gonna take time to get good at it and to see the results. But like, if you just start, you go every single day, you push it as hard as you can, you will see results. You will, as a director of photography, you will become a director of photography. You will be making beautiful images, and it's not going to happen overnight. For some people it does. Like I have some friends that they are just really talented and overnight, but you can't compare it to that because those are the 1%. The 99% of us, it's going to take time. It's going to hurt. The amount of shit that I've had to go through in my career, I'm grateful for it because it's taught me a lot of lessons, but you just have to start. You just got to be consistent and be willing to fail over and over and over again, and be willing to take risks, be willing to also just connect with people. Like, network with people is a huge, like, it's that whole, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. Yeah. And man, that couldn't be more true. That couldn't be further. What's the term? That couldn't be. That's more. It's true. It's true.
It's the truth. I couldn't think of it
it's further from the truth. It couldn't be further from the truth. I don't know, but it's so true. Like, your net worth is your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
Like, who you know and who you surround yourself with that's like, you're going to be successful if you're around other successful people. So
cool.
Yeah, make lots of, and just be a good person.
Yeah.
Like, you can teach skills, you can teach, all that stuff, but you cannot teach a good attitude.
Right.
You've got to come with a good attitude on set. You've got to be a friendly person. You've got to be a good person. And if you do that, people will, when I was starting off and as a grip, one of the guys, Danny Shepard, he's a gaffer. The Shepard's a big, grip and electric hair. Danny showered me with information. Yeah. Like, just every day I was on set with him, just like, here's how to do this. Here's how to do this. And I was just like, bro, thank you. Yeah. And then I remember one time that I was on set with a guy that was also a grip, and he was just kind of being a turd. And Danny just was like, not having it. Yeah. Like, he was not okay. And
no callbacks.
And so I was like, okay, so it is about like the mentality and like the type of, I think if that's keeping it simple and basic, and that principle will follow you through your entire career. Even now, like, as I'm starting to do more educational stuff, I'm learning how to fail quickly and how to like reiterate, how to just, okay, let me put out an offer, or let me put out a video, and if it flops, okay, why did that flop? Like, okay, let's redo it. Like, and just over and over. And the faster you can do that, the faster you can learn and grow. So
yeah. Man, like 5 nuggets in there.
Hopefully.
That's amazing. But the main one I love is be a good hang.
It really is.
You started the podcast with that. Just like, be a good hang, man, because it's way more important than being able to do the skill.
It'll take you so far.
Yeah.
So far in life.
And that's in every aspect of our lives.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much. This is a long conversation. Where are we at? 2 hours? Man, it always feels like it's like so long, and then it's like actually went pretty quick.
Well, thanks for letting me be here. I appreciate it. And it was good meeting you the other day here when we were shooting here. And so I've always like known of Tyson Media, just never met the guy. So
this is the man.
What's up, dude?
Anyone that's listening and they've gotten this far, obviously you know where to find Josh Miller, DP. Go to his Instagram, check him out, especially if you want to learn. Because I've been, in fact, the first time I saw you, was Mitch shared the video of you when you broke the lens. And I think I brought that up.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Yeah.
But totally, it wasn't even your fault. It just was funny that was the thing I saw. And I was like, well, not hiring that guy.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Thank God for insurance.
Yeah. No, I've broken so many things. I remember with Supertramp, man, there was one time I was in Lake Powell doing an upside down red glide cam shot.
Oh gosh.
In the lens, the camera's upside down. I'm with the glide cam and there's a monitor. And the monitor was flipped up just a little bit so I could get low. And then we had the handle on the red. And I tripped, bent the monitor into the handle, and shattered it. So I know that feeling, and it wasn't my equipment.
Thankfully, the first time breaking anything was 10 years into my career, so I think
Heck yeah, you're fine.
Pretty good.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again for being on.
Appreciate it.
And we'll end it right there.